Hey guys, I'm back. So, today, this week, I want to talk about something that very real in grief, but a lot of people don't say out loud. There comes a point after loss when people start expecting you to be better by now. It's been a year. You should be better by now. They may not always say it directly. Sometimes they do. It may come through the way that they talk to you. May sometimes come through the way they stop talking to you. Sometimes it comes through silence. Sometimes it comes through distance. Sometimes it comes with a look on somebody's face when they realize you're still hurting for your child, still remembering, still carrying this deeply. As if you've lost a child, that kind of misunderstanding can add another layer of pain on top of the pain that is already unbearable. Because when you lose a child, this is not something you move on from the way people want to believe. This is not something you finish. This is not something you complete. It's not something where enough time is going to pass by you and suddenly your heart says, okay, I'm done grieving now. Let's go back to the way things were. That's not how it works. Not for a mother, not for a father, not for a family. When this love is this deep, not when it's the loss of your own child. And I think one of the loneliest parts of grief is not just the grief itself. Sometimes it's living in a world where that world gets uncomfortable with your pain. And the world does just not know what to say. I was there. I know. Now I'm here. A world that would rather avoid you than risk saying the wrong thing. A world that thinks time should have made this easier by now. A world that does not understand why little things matter so much. A world that sees remembrance as being stuck when really it's looking for love with somewhere to go. That's what I want to talk about this week. Because I'm not the only one who's felt like this. I know. I'm in groups. I see things. I read posts. I know I'm not alone. So this is for y'all too. Because I'm not the only grieving parent who has felt this shift. That shift from people showing up in the beginning to people getting quieter later. From people recognizing the loss to people acting like you should be functioning different now. From people acknowledging your pain to people almost feeling uncomfortable that your pain still exists. And maybe they don't mean harm. Maybe they do. Maybe some of them truly don't know what to do. Maybe some of them do care, but they feel awkward. Maybe some of them are afraid to say the wrong things. Maybe some of them think giving space is helpful, but silence can become its own wound. Distance can become its own wound. And being expected to be better by now can become its own wound too. So this week, I want to talk about that honestly. I want to talk about how often other people just do not understand ongoing grief after a child loss. I want to talk about how people pull away when they don't know what to say. I want to talk about why trying to make moments special still matter so much to you, to us. And I want to talk about the truth, because just because somebody else doesn't understand the weight of your remembrance, it doesn't mean it's not sacred. Because what looks small to other people or looks uncomfortable to other people or looks like you're stuck to other people can feel holy to a grieving mother, a grieving father. And if you've never had to bury your child, have your child cremated, say goodbye to your child, give them that last hug, and you didn't get any answers. There are some things that you are never going to be able to understand the same exact way. That's not judgment. That is truth. That is honest to God truth. I think one of the hardest things about long-term grief is that the world keeps its own timeline. The world still marks the beginning. The world notices the funeral. The world notices the announcements. The world notices the first wave. The world notices the obvious heartbreak of what happened. The world notices the day everyone knows are painful. But something starts to happen. Time keeps moving for everyone else but you. The calendar changes. Conversations shift. Life goes on. People get their back into routine. Other things take their attention. And meanwhile, you're still carrying your child. You are still waking up to this reality, this nightmare of loving your child, missing your child. You are still feeling the impact of what happened. You are still trying to survive something that was not supposed to end. That's hard. That is disconnect is hard. It's hard when people think time should have solved something that time cannot solve. It's hard when people think a grieving parent should be less affected by now. It's hard when people stop checking in because enough time has passed for them. And even though nothing about your love has changed, it's hard when people act like remembrance should fade into the background when it's for you is woven into every part of your life. And I want to say this plainly. I did not stop being Kody's mother. I did not stop being his mother because time passed. That truth stays with me. I did not stop being Kody's mother after the funeral. I did not stop being Kody's mother after the first month. I did not stop being Kody's mother after the first holiday. I did not stop being Kody's mother after the first year. I did not stop being Kody's mother because the world has got comfortable again. The world around me. I am still Kody's mother. I will still say Kody's name without fear, without being scared that I'm going to step on someone's toes. He will always be my son, and heaven cannot separate that. So, of course, moments matter to me. Of course, dates matter to me. Of course, memories matter to me, because those are 23 and a half years of everyday memories, moments, hugs, I love yous, times, heartbreak, hard times, good times, all of them, every smile, every look in the eye. Those are mine. Those are my memories. You can't see what I see. You can't love the way that I love. It's not possible. Like for every other grieving parent out there, no one can hold those memories that you hold. Those are yours. So, of course, gestures matter to me. Of course, trying to make things special still matter to me. Love does not stop needing expression just because my son, the person you love, is in heaven. That is something people who have never lost a child do not understand. They may see a small act of remembrance and think, she's too much. She's being dramatic. She's too much. Just give her more time. Give her more time. She'll get over this. They may see you trying to mark a moment and think, you're just making it harder on yourself. Really? They may see you doing something intentional in honor of your child and think maybe you should let yourself move forward. They wouldn't want you doing this. I make videos. I make songs. I write songs. I make videos of my son, of me. I've got them copyrighted and published. They're out there. I'm doing that for my son, for God. Working on a book. Those are things that help. Those are things that matter. That's how I'm moving forward. I'm carrying that love. But the way I'm thinking, people miss the whole point. Making moments special is not refusing reality. I get it. I get it. I get it every morning that I wake up. I get it every time I look out the window. I get it every time I cook dinner. I get it every time he should be at work. I get it before I go to bed. I get it when I walk into church. I get that reality every second of the day. I get it more than you ever would think I get it. I get it when I pray. I get it. I'm not living in some delusional world. I'm living in a nightmare where God is the only one I can call on for help. It's me loving my son, my Kody, the only way I can while he is in heaven. That matters. That doesn't matter to anyone else. That matters. And that matters to you. There are things that probably look small from the outside that do not feel small at all to grieving parents. A date, a song, a release, a picture, a place, a shirt, a jacket, a watch, a ring, a phrase, a candle, a memorial item, a routine, a tradition, a birthday, a way of saying goodnight, a way of keeping a memory present, a way of saying that this mattered, he mattered, Kody mattered, your child mattered. They still matter. And for grieving parents, Those things are not random. They're sacred. They are acts of love. They are acts of remembrance. They are acts of ongoing connection. They are the way of your heart saying, I love you. I'm still carrying you. I still honor you. I still make room for you. I still love you with the same love, even though I cannot hold on to you the same way. That's not something everyone needs to fully understand. But I wish more people would understand enough not to dismiss it, not to taint your dates. Because a lot of the times, the world sees grief through the lens of inconvenience. They're just a bother. This is just too much. If your grief is quiet enough, manageable enough, small enough, hidden enough, people start to feel more comfortable. But when your grief still has a shape, still has a language, still has remembrance, still has depth, it makes people uncomfortable. And when people get uncomfortable, they do one of two things. They either try to rush you forward or they pull back away from you. Both can hurt. Being rushed hurts because it treats your love like a problem to solve. Being avoided hurts because it treats your pain like something too awkward to stand near. And I've felt that. I think many of us have felt that. Not in a huge, obvious way, of course. Sometimes it's very quiet. Sometimes in a way that the person changes the subject. Sometimes it's a way people just stop asking. Sometimes it's in the way that people that are around you are just unsure how to act. Sometimes it's in a way that they disappear from the place that they used to show up in. Sometimes it's in a way where your child's name quits getting said because people think it's safer not bringing them up. I bring my son up, Kody, all the time, for crying out loud. I have a YouTube channel here. I am sitting here weekly. I have tons of videos. I have songs about my son. I am creating videos with my son. I am sitting here with my son's stuff. You mentioning their name is not going to make me feel awkward. I mention his name all the time. I do. I'm literally, my YouTube channel is God, Why, Kody. So mentioning his name is not going to bring something up that I don't want to talk about, because obviously I am talking about it. You are not protecting me, like acting like my child never existed while I am doing everything that I possibly can to show the world that my child existed. My child matters. Your child matters. I am literally doing everything that I possibly can. So you not mentioning them is like a slap in my face. You are not making this easier by avoiding their name. You're not. So talk about them. I'm good. I am good. We are good. We want to talk about our children. You are not going to make this easier by skipping around the pain like it's a trap door. And I'm not saying that as being attacked. I'm just saying that we're already here. Right? We are already here. You're not going to make this easier by going silent because you don't know exactly what to say. We don't either. We honestly don't. We just know that we want to talk about our child. Silence can make grief lonelier. And a grieving parent already knows what loneliness is in the most possible way that nobody in this world can possibly imagine. One of the things I've learned is that people often are not avoiding you because they don't care about you. They do. I know. Sometimes they're avoiding you because they don't know how to carry what you are carrying, even for a moment. It takes a different kind of person to carry this. Not everyone is built for it. I'm not built for it. I'm only doing this by the strength of God. I can tell you that right now. Because if I was the old me, I wouldn't be sitting here in front of the camera. I'd probably be out drinking somewhere, doing things I probably shouldn't be doing. But God, right there, but God. I don't know. People just, they don't know what to say. They don't know how to say it. They're afraid of saying the wrong things. They're afraid of making you cry. They're afraid of bringing up your child and reminding you as if you're ever going to forget it. Like, seriously, I'm not going to forget my child. Like, that's one thing. I may forget to cut the stove off. I may forget to lock the door. I may forget to cut the bathroom light off. I may forget to set my alarm clock and be late for work. But there is one thing that I am never going to forget. And that is my child. That is my child. I may forget what I had for breakfast this morning. I don't think I had anything, but I'm never going to forget my child. They're afraid of discomfort. They're afraid of not being able to fix it. And because they can't fix it, people choose distance. That may explain it, but it doesn't remove the hurt of it. Because from the grieving side, what this feels like, you disappear. When I still need human kindness, you got quiet. When I still need people to remember, you pull back. When this pain is still active in my life, you act like time had made this easier when it didn't change the fact that my child is in my arms. That hurts. And it's okay to say that that hurts. It doesn't make you bitter to say that it hurts. It doesn't make you ungrateful to say that it hurts. It doesn't make you faithless to say that it hurts. It hurts when people would rather avoid you of getting it wrong. Look, we're all learning. Because most of us parents, we don't expect perfection. We're a mess. We are not asking people to fix the unfixable. If God is not fixing it, and God is not bringing your child back, what makes you think that any person on this whole entire earth is going to be able to fix this? It doesn't work that way at all. If God's not doing it, ain't nobody doing it. Flat out. We are not asking people to come in here with perfect speech because I stutter, I stumble. I don't have the perfect thing to say. We're not asking people to fully understand something that they have never lived. Walk a mile in my shoes. You can't. I can't walk a mile in your shoes. Most of the time, we're asking for just something much simpler than that. Don't disappear. Just don't act like my grief has become some kind of inconvenience because it lasted longer than your ability to be comfort. Just don't make me feel like I have to hide my child to make other people feel okay. Just don't turn your discomfort into my isolation. That's a real wound. And I want to bring faith into this here because this is one of those places where I am truly, deeply grateful that God is not like people. God does not avoid the brokenhearted. He does not step back because grief is awkward. He does not pull away because the pain lasts longer than expected. He does not get uncomfortable with tears. He does not say, "You need to be better by now," in order to stay near. Psalms 34:18 says, "The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit." Near, not annoyed, not impatient, not distant, near. That verse matters because grief can make you feel very alone in a room full of people. It can make you feel unseen, even around people who know what happened. It can make you feel like others are moving around you in your pain that is entering with it. But God is near. He is near in the beginning. He is near in the middle. He is near after the casseroles have stopped. He is near after the messages slow down. He is near when people stop asking. He is near when your heart is still carrying something the world expects you to be lighter by now. That kind of nearness matters. And Isaiah 53:3 says that Jesus said, "A man of sorrow and acquainted with grief." That matters too, because it means I'm not bringing grief to a Savior who is cold towards sorrow. I'm not bringing grief to a Savior who is confused by my pain. I'm not bringing grief to a Savior who needs me to clean up before I come near. He's acquainted with grief. He knows what sorrow is. Jesus knows what rejection is. Jesus knows what it is to be misunderstood. He knows what it is to be surrounded and still be lonely. Jesus knows. That does not erase the pain of human silence, but it does not mean I'm embedded inside of it. I also think one of the painful misunderstandings people have is that if you're still remembering deeply, then maybe you're stuck. I've heard that. And I want to challenge that. Remembering is not the same as being stuck. Honoring is not the same as refusing life. Making moments special is not the same as living in denial. Loving your child out loud is not the same as unhealthy attachment. Continuing to carry them with intention is not dysfunction. It's motherhood, it's love, it's remembrance. It's going an ongoing relationship of a heart that did not stop just because your child is in heaven and out of sight. That's real. And I think people want grief to become invisible because grief gets easier to live around when it's not visible. If you can smile enough, function enough, post normally enough to the media, speak lightly enough, avoid mentioning your child's name enough, then people, they may even think you're improving. But what they often mean by improving is not healing. What they often mean is you're becoming easier for them to be around. And that's not the same thing. I don't say that to be harsh. I say it because it's true. And a lot of people, when grief gets quieter, not because the grieving person is better, but because the pain is less visible. It's hidden pain, but it's still pain. Once grief is still grief, quiet grief. Private remembrance is still remembrance. And a mother making space for her child in the life she still has to live is not a problem to be corrected. It's love continuing to breathe. So when you ask us to do things like that, you're not making us better. It's not healing. I know for me, trying to make moments special matter because it's one of the ways that my love still gets to move. That's probably the best way I can explain it. Love still needs somewhere to go. When you cannot hug your child, love still needs somewhere to go. When you cannot hear their voice, love still needs somewhere to go. When you cannot make new memories in an ordinary way, love still needs somewhere to go. When your arms are empty, your love is not empty. So you do what you can. You remember. You mark moments. Create something meaningful. Like what I'm doing. You speak their name. I say Kody. Put yours down below. You honor days. What are your special days for your child? Put them down below. You preserve memories. What is a memory you hold on to? You make room. You treat what matters like it still matters, because it does. And sometimes other people, they're not going to understand that at all. They can't. They may think you're too emotional. They may think you're just too much. They think, just keep moving on. They may think its best way is to stop just centering those moments. You're focusing too much. But they do not understand what these moments are. Not keeping me from love. They are expressions of love. They are not chaining me to the past. They're not. They are how I carry my child that is in heaven, present with me now, the only way I can. That's different. Very different. You have yours. We don't have ours. And unless you have lost the child, you may never understand why certain days matter, why certain objects matter, why a certain act of remembrance matters, why a certain song matters, why making a moment special matters, why it hurts when you cannot honor that day the way that you had hoped to honor that day, and it turns into something else. Don't know how damaging that is. You may never understand what it's like for you to feel enormous to me. But grief has a way of making ordinary things holy. Songs become holy. Dates become holy. Memories become holy. Small rituals become holy. A private act of remembrance becomes holy. Not because it fixes anything. It doesn't fix it. But because love still shows up there. Romans 12:15 says, rejoice with those rejoice, and weep with those who weep. That's such a simple verse. But it's also very demanding. Because to weep with those who weep, means you do not run from sorrow because it's uncomfortable. It means you do not require a grieving person to make their pain easier for you to stay present. It does not mean you disappear because you're afraid you will not say it perfectly. It means that you do not treat someone else's heartbreak and avoid the situation. You stay human with them. You stay kind to them. You stay near to them. You let their pain be real without demanding becoming smaller for your comfort. That verse matters because it reminds me that presence matters more than being polished. And a lot of people think the right words are the most important things. I know plenty of pastors that when you tell them you lost someone, they don't even have the right words. People that study the Bible have no right words. When you say, I've lost my child, it dumbfounds them. It does. Because there is no right words. So what makes me think that you're going to have the right words? God. God has the right words. What matters most is just presence. A text that says, hey, I don't know what to say, but I'm thinking of you. A moment that says, I remember today. Willingness to say Kody's name. Something that happened that reminded you of my son. Hey, I was doing this today and thought about Kody. Or I seen someone, thought about Kody. Thought about your kid. Willingness to sit in discomfort instead of disappearing. That matters. Because the opposite of that is avoidance. Can send a message all by itself too. A message of avoidance often feels like this. Your pain, it makes me feel uncomfortable. Your grief, it's just lasted longer than I'm able to handle. It's like gone on too long. I don't know where to put this, so I'm just, I'm out. I'm checking out. I'm just stepping away. Like, this is hard. Like, bye. See you. So you're just too much. Peace out. Let's not talk about him anymore. Let's just move on. You want to talk about the weather? So it's hard. So I want to say this, right? I want to say something about the phrase better by now. 3 words. Better by now. Because I think that phrase reveals how deeply people misunderstand grief. Better. Better how? Do they mean not crying as much? Do they mean functioning more? Do they mean not mentioning your child's name as often? Do they mean smiling more? Do they mean your ability to talk about other things? Do they mean becoming emotionally safer for everyone else to interact with? Because losing a child is not like recovering from the flu. There is no better by now. That restores what it was lost. There's maybe a stronger, maybe a be steadier. There's maybe a more practice at carrying. There's maybe more ability to function within the pain. There's maybe a little bit more to speak about things without collapsing every single time you speak about them. But better is a dangerous word in people who grieve. When people lose it, when they use it, it means less love, less remembrance, less ache, less connection. I'm not trying to be less his mother. I'm not trying to be less Kody's mother. I'm learning how to be Kody's mother in grief. Do you know how to do it? Didn't think so. That's different. And I think that is why many grieving parents are trying to do. We're not trying to get over our children. We're trying to survive loving them from this side of heaven. That is real work. That is why the timeline people are putting on grief feels so cruel sometimes, because they're using the wrong measuring stick. They're measuring visible emotion. You're measuring social comfort. measuring how easy we are to talk to now. But the heart is measuring something different entirely. The heart measures love. The heart measures absence. The heart is measuring all the moments that should have been. That should have been. The heart is measuring a way that you have to keep still going while broken beyond repair. Those are not the same measuring sticks. And maybe one of the most painful parts is that people do not even realize that they are doing this. They think being silent is respectful. They're not mentoring your child to protect you. They think giving you space is right when they're really giving you loneliness. They think that if they bring up, it'll make it worse. As if your child is not already on your mind. They think because you looked strong last week, you must be strong this week. They think because you posted something meaningful or funny on your account, you're okay. But grieving parents know better. We're functioning. We know how often strength and sorrow live in the same body. We know how often a person can show up and still be shattered underneath. I know. I was shattered, functioning. Day I lost my son. All the things you have to do when it's gone just like that. The arrangements you have to make, the calls you have to make. Shattered, but functioning. It's like your soul is outside of your body, just pushing you along. Shattered underneath, but functioning. We know how often making something meaningful comes from the pain, not the absence of pain. I don't create songs to be depressed. I create songs because it helps me get out what is bottled inside. We know how often a memory is active, even when it's not visible. So I want to say this for anyone who is grieving and feels misunderstood. You don't need someone else understanding you in order for love to be valid. You don't need someone else's comfort in order for your child's remembrance to be sacred. You don't need someone else's permission to carry your child's name with intention. You do not need the world to approve a way a mother heart still reaches for their kid. That does not make misunderstanding hurt less. It hurts, it does. But their misunderstanding does not define what is true. Their misunderstanding is not what is going on inside of your body. That's what's true. Your child matters. Child still matters. Your love matters. Your remembrance matters. Your little moments matter. The things that feel sacred to you are not silly. They are not too much. They are evidence that you are not failing. You're grieving. You're a mom. You're a dad. They're evidence of love. Galatians 6:2 says, bear one another's burdens so that they are fulfilled in the law of Christ. That matters here too, because grief teaches you to quickly and willingly be able to carry burdens that is only comfortable around burdens that are quickly resolved. Child loss does not resolve quickly. So when people step away because the burden lasted, that hurts in a very particular way. And they get mad at you all the time because the burdens lasted too long. That hurts you in a different way. And when people stay, even imperfectly, that means a lot too. I've learned that support is not always about brilliance. It's about willingness. Take my youngest, for instance. She's nice. She doesn't have the things to say. But you know what? Sometimes she is the smartest person in the room. She says things that help me remember my son. She's got the willingness to remember. She says things. She says things like, Mom, why are you sad? Why are you hurt? You know you're going to see Bubs again. He's in heaven. Just little things like that, you know? Or she tells me she misses him too. We do the Kody Dale. We do the dance. We read the stories. We look at pictures. We blow kisses to heaven. She's not perfected in her speech, but she's there, willing. So willingness to remember, willingness to say their name, willingness to acknowledge dates. She's 9 and she knows. She knows dates because her body remembers too. Willingness to let the grieving parent still be a parent. Willingness to understand what looks small may carry emotional meaning. Willingness to be present without trying to control the pace of somebody else's pain. That's a bearing burdens, not fixing them. My daughter doesn't try to fix me, not explaining them away, not shrinking them, bearing them. And I think the church, family, communities, people in general, we need to get better at all that. Because too many grieving people are carrying around not only loss, but loss itself, the social cost of other people's discomfort, on top of everything that they're dealing with is too much weight. So I want to turn for a few minutes and put something practical, not clinical, practical. So if you're grieving, especially if you have lost a child, I want to remind you a few things. You're not wrong for hurting. You're not wrong for still talking about your child. You're not wrong for making those moments special. You're not wrong for remembering. You're not wrong because certain days, objects, or songs, rituals carry more weight to you than they do other people that could possibly ever understand. You're not failing because your grief is still active. You're not too much because your love still has depth. And others people's discomfort is not a reliable measuring stick for healing. That one matters. God does not give you a timeline. People do, not God. Just because someone else does not know how to sit with you in your grief does not mean you are grieving wrong. I have to tell myself that. Just because somebody else thinks time has passed does not mean your heart should agree. Just because someone else does not understand why this moment matters, it is not just an excuse, does not make that moment any less meaningful. Do not let other people's impatience shame you. Do not let other people's convenience you that your life, the child's life, needs to become smaller in your life to make them feel more comfortable. Do not let other people's avoidance make you think you need to carry this quietly to be acceptable. Post their names here, guys. Post your story. I'll listen. Your child is not a topic you have to erase so other people can stay comfortable. And if the world around you does not understand why the little moments matter, remember this. Love notices what other overlooks. Love remembers what others forget. Love marks as other passes by. Love creates space that still exists. Love is not weakness. That is love. God is love. And if there is someone listening who has ever had to bury a child, have your child cremated, but you know that someone, if you know someone, let me say these few things to you. You don't have to fully understand in order to be kind. You don't have to have perfect words in order to show up. You don't have to try to solve anything in order to care. You don't have to be an expert in grief to remember dates. You don't have to be holier than thou. Small gestures matter. Grief matters. Presence matters. Say their name. Acknowledge the dates. Send the text. Don't wait until you know exactly what to say. Do not assume because time passed, the pain did too. Do not treat the acts of remembrance like something some grieving parent should outgrow. Like if the grieving parent is posting something on Facebook or whatever social media thing, stop flicking past all the stupid stuff that is toxic to your brain and say, for crying out loud, like it. Say, I'm thinking of you. Something. Just flick. Flick up. That's what everybody does. Flick up. If it's not some stupid AI video about some weird rabbit wearing a horse and whatever and it is, flick up. Acknowledge it. And hear this, please. You are not reminding them of their child by acknowledging something. They're already thinking about it. They're screaming out to you. What you're doing is reminding them when you don't do anything at all that you're annoying them. That matters too. That matters more than anything. I don't know what to say, but I want you to know, right? I want you to know, I remember. I know days matter, right? I am thinking about your child today. I know I can't fix it, but I care. That's enough. I care. I do. I'm here with you, right? My chips. I'm here with you. Drop their name. I'll pray with you. Okay? That's enough. I'll pray with you. And perfect presence is usually far kinder than polished silence. For me, faith is what a part of keeping me going from turning this into complete despair. Not because faith makes me less of a mother, not because grief erases everything, not because faith makes it easier in the suffering, not because faith removes the ache of being misunderstood, but because faith reminds me that God understands what people do not. God understands the weight of remembrance. God understands why love still matters. God understands why moments still matter. God understands why the mother's heart keeps looking for ways to honor, carry, preserve love. He does not shame that. He sees it. We have a whole Bible full of things in remembrance and honor and preserving and pain and loss and sacrifice and remembrance. A whole book, a whole big old Jesus. And when the world gets quiet, remember God does not. Sometimes He may still speak to you in a still, small voice. So when the world gets quiet, listen for that voice. When people don't know how to respond, God knows how to stay. When people avoid what they do not know how to handle, God still remains present. When people think you should be better by now, God still deals with me in tender mercy, right where I am. That matters to me more than I can explain. Because there are days when being misunderstood by people can make grief feel heavier. By not understanding can make it feel like you are being crushed and you cannot pick up that weight. There are days when silence can sting too. There are days when you have something so meaningful that you are trying to do and it gets demolished. But God sees. He sees the love in it. He sees your ache in it. He sees your sacredness in it. He sees a mother's heart trying to love with empty arms. He is not dismissive of that. Other people are. That's why I'm glad God is God and not people. I want to be careful here because I don't want to sound like I'm angry at the world. Because I'm not. I'm really not. But this is grief telling the truth. The truth is that people don't understand. Acknowledge that. The truth is that people get uncomfortable. Acknowledge that. The truth is that avoidance can deepen loneliness. Acknowledge that. The truth is that grieving parents often feel pressure to become easier for other people to interact with. The truth is that little moments matter more than people realize. The truth is that remembrance is love. The truth is that faith in sorrow can exist without pretending one another. And the truth is that I'm still learning to live inside of this nightmare. I am still learning how to carry my son in a world that has moved on and will understand. I am still learning on how to let moments matter without apologizing for them. I am still learning to speak honestly what hurts without becoming hardened. I am still learning how to love when the people I love don't get me at all. I am still learning as part of this journey. Not false closure, not pretending I'm past it, not pretending the world's misunderstanding doesn't hurt. Just learning how to keep walking with God in a life that is unbearable in my son's absence. And maybe some of you are learning that too. Maybe you know exactly what it feels like when people expect you to be better by now. Maybe you know what it feels like when people stop asking. Maybe you know what it's like when people just avoid you because they don't know what to do with you. Maybe you know what it's like when a moment feels sacred to you and shattered by everyone else. Maybe you know what it's like to carry your child deeply in a world that wants you to shrink your grief. That's you. I want to hear from you. You're not wrong. You're not too much. You're not behind. You're not failing because you still remember deeply. You're not unhealthy because you still want to make room for your child. You're not broken because you're still doing things the wrong way. Tell me how to do grief the right way, please, to all the people that are judging. Please? Is there like a book out there of someone who has not lost a child that can do grief 100%? I can fix it all. Fix it all. I don't think so. That's holy ground. The only book that I know of that helps is the Bible. It's God's word, God's promise. That's the only book I know. So this week, I wanted to say this. Some of the loneliness of grief comes from loss itself, human loss. But some people, it comes within people that don't even know how to stay. Some people that don't know how to speak. Remember, mark moments, make room. When you make someone else's grief and pain lesser and lesser every day. My child mattered. Kody matters. Kody still matters. Kody will always matter. Just because my son is not over next door where I can go knock on the door and wake him up does not mean he's not here with me. And maybe the world will never understand that. But God does. He understands the brokenhearted. He understands my crushed spirit. He understands being very well acquainted with my grief. He calls us to burden one another, to bear one's burdens. How can you bear it? That means that this kind of sorrow is not invisible in heaven, even when it feels invisible on earth. So if you're grieving, keep loving. If you're remembering, make room. Keep honoring what is sacred. Don't let that world tell you just because you're uncomfortable, I'm not going to talk to you. Don't disappear. Don't wait for perfect words. Remember your child. Honor your child. Remembering matters. So if this week has reached you, share it with someone who needs it. Like, subscribe, help get this message across to people who has felt unseen in their grief, misunderstood in their love, alone in the way that they carry their lost child. I'm not doing this for likes, guys. I'm really not. I'm doing this so that people who are broken beyond repair have somewhere to go. Because I'm in the groups. I hear people. I read. I see how lost we all are. And I'm sharing what little bit of hope I got in Jesus. Because there's so many of us in these groups, guys. We're so lost. So hurt. Ways I can't even describe. We know. We're part of a club we never wanted to be a member of. It's not a good club to be in. But we're out there. I see you. So I'm speaking for y'all. So guys, thanks. Thanks for tuning in. And for Kody, same bad time. Same bad channel. I see you next week, guys. Love you, Kody.